Hello and welcome to my demonstration of the EternalBlue exploit versus the Smith family computer. So let's say we're out at the library and so is the Smith family, and they're out browsing the web or looking at recipes online or whatever it is they might be doing. And we are on our Kali Linux machine, and we are intent on finding other computers on the network that are vulnerable, and we are going to attack them if we can. So they're just minding their business, doing their thing, and we're going to start collecting some reconnaissance. So we can do IPA to figure out information on our own internet address. IP address, so it's 192.168.228.130 with a net mask of 24, and all that means is we can communicate with any computer on the network between the 228.0 to 228.255 range. So we're going to want to collect some more information about computers that fall within that range, because we're going to assume that other computers are also going to be assigned within that range. So we can use the nmap command for that. So I'll want to do sudo nmap, if I can type, sudo nmap, and then we're going to want to use the O flag to collect information about an operating system, and then the SS flag for a silent or stealth scan, and that's going to be the default one that it uses. So 192.168.228.0/24 is the beginning of this IP range, and it'll scan through all 256 addresses to try to find some information out. So while that's going, we can open up the Metasploit framework, which is what we're going to be using for the remainder of this presentation. And that'll take a second to load. And basically all this does is it has thousands of exploits, 2,196 and 596 different payloads. And that is going to allow us to use an exploit to connect to a computer and then deliver a payload. So looks like we have gotten some information back about computers on the network. And sorry, I've increased the font size so that you can see a little bit better, but it also makes it sort of hard to read. So it looks like we found an interesting one here. It says the OS details are Microsoft Windows 7 Service Pack 0 or Service Pack 1, and that is from 2008. So we can assume that this thing is going to be outdated enough that we can probably run at least one sort of exploit against it. And if we scroll up here, we see their IP address is 192.168.228.131, and then we have a list of open ports, which is basically going to be our avenue into this computer. Specifically with the EternalBlue exploit, we have the 445 port open, which is going to be the one that we're going to use. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to want to set our exploit, so we can search for the EternalBlue exploit since we're going to be using that one, and it is right here. So that's going to be the file path, and then we can just say use, and then that exploit. And since we don't have a payload configured, it automatically is going to set one for us. And the one that it's going to use is meterpreter/reverse TCP, which is actually what we want anyways. A reverse TCP connection is essentially an attack where we ask the target to initiate the connection to my computer, so the firewall won't block the attack. The old way of doing it is bind TCP, but that's me initiating the request, and so that's more likely on modern computers to get blocked. So a meterpreter session on top of that is basically going to allow us to use some additional commands to do terrible things to this computer. So next thing we need to do is look at our options, because we'll have to set a couple of things that are required. One of those is our hosts, which is going to be the target host, and that'll be their IP address. So we can set our hosts to 192.168.228.131 according to this. And then the next thing is going to be our local host IP address, which is going to be 192.168.228.130, and that's what we found on IPA earlier. So now that we have that, we can see if they are susceptible to the attack by running the check command. And it says here that they're likely vulnerable to this exploit. So with all that being said, let's just go ahead and run and see what happens. If you're more interested in this kind of attack, you can actually go to any.run and look at all of the graphs and things that will show you kind of how this is operating when we do these kinds of things. Cool, and then it looks like we got through with a win. So we are now on their computer, and they are none the wiser. They're still just looking at their penguin wallpaper. So now that we're here, we're going to want to stay here for good. So to do that, we can look at the processes, and we're going to want to bind to something that's not going anywhere. So one of those that I know of is going to be explorer.exe, and we just got to find it in this list of processes, which is going to be right here. And so it is number 780. So we can migrate to 780. And then we're going to want to verify that we actually have elevated access so that we can do the things we want to do. So we can do that with the get system command. And it looks like it failed. So because it failed, let's see if we can just switch to a process that we know is not going to fail, like winlogon.exe, which is going to be 448. Okay, and it's not going to want to let us migrate because we do not have privileges. So to fix that, we can actually background this, and then we can look for bypass UAC. And then we have one here. Let's just find the regular one. Here, exploit Windows local bypass UAC. So this is going to bypass user access or user account controls that would normally keep us from using the get system command to elevate our privileges. So we can use exploit bypass UAC, and then we can do another reverse TCP, which is fine. And then we're going to need to look at our options again. Going to set our L host to 192.168.228.130, and then we're going to set our L port to 1234 since we already used 4444 previously. And then we're going to need to set our session to 1 because that's the session we just backgrounded, and we want to basically enable this on that session. So we can go ahead and run it. And it looks like it was successful. Cool. And then let's try get system now. And it looks like we got the system. So now all that means is that we have complete access to move around in the system how we want or do whatever. So we now have the ability to do some nasty stuff. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look around their computer. And I can CD to, like /users and see what's in there. CD to the Smith residence, see what's in there, and then CD to their desktop, see what's in there. Looks like it's a lot of JPEGs, and then we have a passwords.txt.txt file, which I wonder what's in there. So we can actually download that. Cool, and then we can view it, see what's in there. Okay, so it looks like it's some of their account information, and we have 123beans is their bobsmith@gmail.com password. Thank you, Justin. Amazon password, I love fishing 123, and bank password is Chevy for life. They are not a Jeep man, that is for sure. Cool. So we have some more additional stuff that we can do nasty things with further down the line if we want to, like, steal their Amazon account information and order us some stuff to our house with free 2-day delivery, because I'm sure they probably have Prime. So that's all good news for me. Next thing that we're going to want to do is we can actually enable a shell. So when I say shell, that basically is just, what you're used to in Windows here if we're doing things in command prompt elevated to system32. So we can do whatever we desire here. And I'm going to do netuser/add hackerman. And the password's going to be RIP family PC. And then I'm going to do net local group administrators. hackerman/add. And so now we're an administrator. And then the last nasty thing is going to be net local group administrators, the Smith residence. And we are going to remove them as admins. And I messed that command up. That's okay. Boom. So we now have an account that is an administrator, and they have lost theirs. Something else we could do that would be nasty would be like enabling remote desktop so that we could log into that account remotely whenever we want to. But that's not going to be something we're doing in this demonstration. Something else we can do is exit out of the shell, and we can do a screen share. And this will actually show us the live view of what's going on their screen at any time. We could also do things like look through their webcam, take a picture, enable remote desktop, capture microphone input, upload files. We can send sounds to their computer to really freak them out. I thought that was a funny one. And then the last real thing we're going to do is exit out of the stream, and we are going to upload a virus and just destroy their computer. You could also do something like just download all the files on their computer if you really wanted to. If you think there's something in there you would need and you don't know where it's at, you could literally do that. So anyways, we are going to upload wannacry.exe, and we are going to select their desktop to put it on. So if we go to their computer, we should be able to see it pop up. Oh, well, wonder what that is. That must be my grandson Billy put one of his video games on here or something. Okay, so the last thing is we're going to run execute with the F flag, which is going to basically tell it what file to execute. And then need to put this in quotes since there's spaces in it. Oh, and then I need to put the file path there. And then it's created the process. So now we can watch what happens to the Smith family computer. Oh, there's a bunch of stuff on there that I didn't see before. I wonder what that's about. Oh, uh-oh. This doesn't look good. Boom. Your important files are encrypted. And here in a second, it should open up the wanted decryptor window. And essentially what has happened is they have lost access to every single file on this computer. Even if you go to the passwords.txt and open that up, you want to try to log into some website where you can pay some IT security guy to fix your computer, but your password is on the passwords.txt file, and it has been encrypted, and so has the pictures of flowers and penguins. And now this thing pops up, and we have to send some freaking hacker $300 worth of Bitcoin within the next 6 days. Yep, within the next 6 days, or we will have all of our files permanently deleted. And if you wait too long, the price goes up every time. And when this thing came out, it affected hundreds of thousands of computers, and they were not joking when they had these timers. I think that if you pay it, it actually does uninstall from your computer, but I would not want to use or even get near a computer that had this on there. And at this point, they might as well throw it out, sell it to a pawn shop, or give it to their grandson Billy to play games on or something, and call it a day. So let's just have a moment of silence for the Smith family computer. But I hope that you enjoyed my presentation. Thank you.